to Real Reviews, where we take a look at major Hollywood releases and let you know if they're worth your time, money, and patience. I'm your host, Walter Benaziak. Today we're changing things up and highlighting one of Governor State's very own student productions. The name of the production? A Beautiful View of Nothing. Joining us for the discussion is the cinematographer, editor, and producer of the film, Kimberly Brown.
Hey.
A Beautiful View of Nothing is an independent short film directed by Blake Labriola and written by author David W. Pedersen. The film was shot on a zero budget, relying on the kindness of others, peanut butter sandwiches, and inflatable mattresses. The movie follows Moses Beale, who lives in a world with a limited timeline. When his friends, family, and co-workers all start to literally disappear, he is left questioning the purpose of spending the remainder of his days alone. Can Moses achieve a lifetime of meaning within 5 days, or is he destined to fade away like most of those who surround him? That question and more, all addressed in A Beautiful View of Nothing. So Kim, there's a very small cast in this movie, not too many dialogue scenes. What was the casting process like, getting those three major characters?
Well, Craigslist.
Craigslist?
Yep, because this is zero budget. We advertised on Craigslist, we set up auditions. We had 2 audition spaces, one in kind of the south suburbs of Chicago, and then one more in Chicago. And we had people who responded and who showed up. And actually the cast, although it's not very big for the leads, we did have a good number of extras that all really made the film seem
bigger in scale.
Yeah, it did. And really appreciate people who are willing to just walk through a scene or stand somewhere or just react.
Right. It's always nice when people donate their time like that, I think, and it's really hard to come by in really small films like this.
It is.
So it made A Beautiful View of Nothing, I think, seem even more legitimate than it already was.
Absolutely. I think that those scenes wouldn't have been nearly as good. They wouldn't have played as well if we didn't have all those extras there. And so I just want to reiterate that if people didn't donate their time for a few minutes, and it took them a couple of hours of just standing around and standing in the same place, but that's what really made it work. I think.
I agree. Pete Navis plays Moses Beale, the main character of the film. When he came in, were you just like, oh, this is the guy? Were you and Dave and Blake, the film writer and director?
No. Not from the moment that he walked in, but he delivered the lines so well, and he just seemed like the character, at least he did to me, and he was willing to do it for free.
Important part.
And Pete really can act, and that's a big part of it. A lot of times you get a lot of people who haven't done much acting. This is their first audition, and that's great. But we were really, really lucky to find Pete, who has quite a bit of acting experience and who's, he's really good. And then, of course, there's Marcus on the other end. He played Sam. And he...
Moses' best friend.
Yeah. And actually, he had not done very much acting yet. And so this was one of his early auditions, and he really knocked it out of the park. He did a great job. Originally, Sam and Moses are supposed to be brothers, but after we just liked him so much, we really wanted to cast him, and obviously there's no family resemblance between the two.
A little bit of a difference in the appearance.
Yeah, so after we decided that we really wanted Marcus to play the part of Sam, Dave rewrote it so that they were best friends and not brothers.
Right. I think their chemistry in the diner scene was really well received by people, and I think that they're very believable as best friends. So the conversation was really natural, I think, between those two.
Yeah, and Blake, I know, worked with the actors in rehearsal quite a bit to get it to that point, and it really was believable. We had some concerns about, well, can we really make this seem like these two people are sitting in a diner? But I think Dave pulled from some personal experience when he wrote it, and he kind of expanded the scene, and it really makes it work, and I think it works probably better than the original version. So.
Gotcha. Melissa Walker plays Judith, the only female main character in the movie.
Yep.
Moses' ex-girlfriend, I
Yep.
believe. Their scene is really, really breathtaking, I think, because there's so many emotions going through both characters in that scene, and it's played great. There's some some parts when no words are spoken, and you just see it on their faces what's happening.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Judith character in this movie?
Yeah, I mean, there's some real subtlety in that scene, and that all started with the script. The script there's definitely some subtext, and Melissa did a great job with that scene. I know her and Pete actually met to kind of act out and imagine what their breakup would have been like.
Right.
And, the character, when Melissa came to audition, we pretty much knew right away that we wanted her. There were a lot of people who did audition. Unfortunately, a lot of them were either too young, too old, and Melissa was the perfect age. She looked the part, and she could act. And she acted very well. And I think that, just from the cold read, that she did a very good job.
I agree.
And then when I didn't see any of her rehearsals, so I just saw her performance on set, and it was very
believable.
good.
We're going to take a look at a clip from the movie right now.
Okay.
I think this happens right after their conversation.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Why don't you set up the clip for us?
This is the main character, Moses Beale, is just leaving the park after a conversation with Judith, the character we were just talking about.
Right.
And this is what transpires directly after that scene.
Okay, let's take a look at the clip. I wanted to talk for a minute about the casting process, but this time from your perspective as seeing Dave, the writer of the film, what he was looking for in these characters as opposed to what the director Blake was looking for in these characters.
Yeah, I guess there was some disconnect at times, but I think that they really had a similar idea for the characters. I don't know. I guess it would be best to ask them. But yeah, it was interesting to watch the dynamic. Dave was only there for the first set of auditions, so he had to watch the second set from the recording that we made while we were doing the auditions. But I think that really there wasn't much argument over who was going to play what role after we had looked through all the auditions, all the recordings a second time. I think we were really, all of us agreed that Pete, Melissa, and Marcus were the people that we were going to give the roles to.
Yeah, and it worked out really good.
Yeah.
So this is lightning round question. Ready?
Okay.
Favorite actor, go.
Favorite actor? Pete Novice.
Pete Novice. Perfect answer. I'd like to thank Kim Brown for talking with us today about this very unique student short film. Look out for a beautiful view of nothing at film festivals in the coming months. And remember, if it's not reviewed here, it just isn't real. I'm Walter Benaziak, and I will see you at the movies.